Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of CLR Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. I am a board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we are reacting to Laura Oglesby. Oglesby is a 48-year-old woman who stole her daughter's identity to start college. Now, she was separated from her daughter. First of all, identity theft is kind of a... People sometimes think of it as a victimless crime in a sense because, you know, you're doing things kind of under the radar and it doesn't feel like you're really hurting somebody, but you really are, actually. But she was estranged from her daughter. Now, this is just strange stuff. So she's a Missouri woman facing jail time after she admitted to stealing her estranged daughter's identity. And so let's just kind of go through some of the things that she did. She pretended like she was in her 20s. And in order to secure student loans, she enrolled in college and pursued her sexy co-ed fantasies. In other words, she wanted to pretend like she was, you know, in her 20s and live a life of being in her 20s. However, when you do a couple things, when you engage in identity theft, that's one thing. When you all of a sudden go get loans for college in your daughter's name, not only is that identity theft, that's also loan fraud, and it's a federal offense. Depending upon how much money, now I'm going through this video, and you can see this is a picture of her. She's 48 fucking years old. Who the hell would believe that she was in her 20s? And you can look, if you look at the video, you can see on her forehead she's got some wrinkles. You got wrinkles around the mouth. But when you put a filter on, and all of a sudden you start engaging in social media, and so it says here, 48-year-old Oglesby posed as her daughter for more than 2 years, fooling the federal government, which isn't hard to do, and locals in a small college town. So she's probably putting on tons of makeup on because, I mean, if you look at this picture, there's no way in hell she looks like she's anything but in her 40s. Let's go to the next one. So here she is. No doubt that she's got a filter, or if that's probably not even the same person. But you can see girls just want to have funds. Get it? Funds. A local police chief told the New York Times everyone believed it. She even had boyfriends that believed that she was 22 years old. Could you imagine your own blood, your mother or your father, you know, using your identity? You know, and it's just a pain in the neck to clean all that up because, you know, if her daughter went to go to grad school or do anything else, she'd probably be denied because that stuff would be on her credit. All right, now here's a picture of Oglesby. She is facing 5 years behind bars after pleading guilty to one count of intentionally providing false information to the Social Security Administration. Because one of the things she did is she got a Social Security number, you know, in her daughter's name. And that's who she is right there. There's no way in hell anybody could take her as 22. But when she's hitting up college guys, guess what? A stiff has no conscience, right? And so these guys, they don't really care. If they're hitting it, they're hitting it, and probably not inquiring too much. So when you engage in this kind of behavior, it really is insidious. And the fact that she, takes somebody's identity is one thing. The fact that she took her daughter's identity would be considered an aggravating factor. So even though she's probably looking at statutory max of 5 years, in all likelihood, she'll probably get 18 to 24 months, maybe a little bit more. The amount of money that she got from her scheme probably wasn't all that much. It probably under $100,000. And I've got a case that's about, if it's under 250 with no criminal history, guidelines are probably 18 to 24 months. So she's not going to get a whole lot of time. But she'll be on supervised release after she gets out of prison, and she will go to prison. And it's kind of interesting. Anyway, it really is just striking. I mean, I can't imagine being 22 years old and all of a sudden finding out the chick you're dating is 48. And when you're 22, 48 just seems ancient, right? When you're 48, 22 seems like it's pretty nice. That's the difference between, when you grow older as a guy, there's a wider variety of women that become attractive to you. However, a 48-year-old person dating a 22-year-old person, if it's a guy, probably ain't that cool in the sense that he's doing well, but she's not. So it is. This is just news of the weird for today. So this woman Oglesby, she not only got a Social Security card in her daughter's name, she got a driver's license. She wound up living with another family, saying that she was her daughter and 22 years old. She created a Snapchat account, and when she, putting on the filters, we know what that does, right? And that's one of the things you guys should look out for. Make sure before you even meet somebody, if you're chatting with them on any kind of social media, make sure you see the real them. Okay, let me see you without the filter. Oh, okay. Tell you what, I'll see you next time. No. And then the amount of fraud, I think she agreed to pay back like around $17,000. She had some of it in federal student loans. She stole some of her daughter's money. And then when she was initially contacted about it, she denied it. And then she broke down and, I guess so, blah, blah, blah. This is just a funny story. But it really isn't funny because imagine that being your child. Could you imagine doing something like this to your child? It created havoc for her child. And everybody in town, she created a whole separate identity. And there was really no need for her to do this. It's just interesting to see how some people create enormous problems for themselves. It's really, the first thing I would do if this was my client is get a psych eval, because all the synapses are not firing upstairs. So this is kind of hilarious. It is just remarkable when you look at this to see how somebody could do just like, she wanted a different life. She wanted to be her daughter. She wanted to be in college. She wanted to be hitting guys, who are her daughter's age. And at 48 years old, that bespeaks of some kind of psychological problem. Wait, I think they're coming to get her now. Anyway. So this has been our reaction to Laurel Oglesby. 2 years. 2 years she was doing this. And she hasn't been sentenced yet, but she pled guilty. Missouri woman acting like her daughter. 22 years old. 48 years old. So I just thought I came across this story, thought you guys would think it's interesting. Because one of the things about criminal law is that we're students of human behavior. And we see all kinds of stuff. And a lot of it comes from psych. It's either drugs or psych. One of the two. Or, somebody's just evil and it is what it is. But this was a psych issue as I see it. She's got some real psychological problems. And the first thing I would do is have her get a psych eval. So this is Bruce Rivers, Criminal Lawyer Reacts. If you are watching this, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. If you're on there long enough, we'll send you a hat. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.